Hey traders, Jason with Jenkins Risk Management. I'm doing another update here on just want to talk about Bitcoin and this idea of people ask, well, I'm looking at this chart pattern, or we have this particular indicator, or Elliott wave is saying, hey, look, somebody's making a call that price is going to go to 7,000, or somebody else can make a call that Bitcoin's going back to 2,000. And I just wanted to kind of clear up my thoughts on making those big picture calls. Is it's really not that helpful. And I don't mean that to be negative. I'm just saying that I want you to understand the thinking. If you start to think about analysis in terms of if then analysis, okay, so meaning that if this happens in the market, then we should expect this to happen. If this low breaks, then the probability is higher that this takes place. So anybody can make a call and put a target on something, but it's not helpful to the trader or investor because it doesn't tell you when price is going to get there, or how it's going to get there, or how you're going to manage your risk on the way up. Or for someone to make a call here that Bitcoin's going to 7,500, well, when? What if it crashed all the way back here to 1,200, 1,600? Then go sideways for 2 years before we get to 7,500. That's just not helpful from a timing perspective. Or if somebody says we're going to go to 2,000, well, okay. Well, we're going to go to 2,000 within the next 6 months. Well, okay, but what if we come down here to support, bounce, come back down to support again, bounce, come back down to support again, bounce, come back down to support again, bounce, and then we break to your level? There's 1, 2, 3, there's several opportunities to make money and trade the other, I call them signposts. So there's other trades to be had on your way to that particular price target. So just making a big call like that doesn't really help anybody trade, and doesn't help you make any money, or better yet, save you any money by just making one point. What I'd rather hear people say is, all right, let's break this down. So if-then analysis says if we take out these lows, then there's a chance that you go to this particular price level. Or tell me why you're bearish, or tell me why you think 2,000 is the next stop. But there's usually a lot of other pivots, there's a lot of other trades to be had along the way to that particular price target that it's just not that helpful. So let's just walk through. When we do our top-down analysis, we like to start with the monthly and use it's a fractal model, so we'll work our way down through the different time frames. And I'll show you what this if-then analysis looks like. So, all right, here's Bitcoin. This is the monthly chart. Now, obviously, any other market that does this looks very bubbly. This looks like a top. This looks exactly like something that's in a bubble, okay? But we got to realize too that this is a brand new technology. It's a brand new asset class. It's basically the next version of the internet of money. So you can't treat it like it's a one-off stock like Taser, or when Tesla first IPO'd. It's completely different. It's all relative. But here's what I can tell you about the if-then. Okay, we could see the bottom of these bands here on the monthly, which is around the 1600. You can see that these bands are going to be rising towards 1600. All right, you can also see the low support from the middle. Let's see, what month was this? Low support from July is down here. Okay, is in the bottom of this wick. It's around 1700. All right, but there's a couple signposts on the way to this level. So I think of it this way. If you want to try to figure out the direction of a car, it's approaching a fork in the road. Okay, it can go right, it can go left. Well, trying to make the call that the fork's going to go right, and then after it takes a right, it's going to go around the bend, across the bridge, through the valley, and then it has another right-hand turn or a stop sign it's got to go left at or then right at. And trying to say it's going to arrive at this particular point way out there after all these different turning points, it's just too hard to predict. It's better to say, all right, we're going to play the market this way as we approach the fort. We'll see if we go right or we go left. If we go right, then we know that up around the corners there's this particular landmark, or there's the bridge. We got to go left or right at the bridge. It's the same thing. That's more helpful than just making a call way down here that price is going to go to 2,000. If then says, okay, if we take out these lows right here, these pivot lows around 29.75, okay, if we take out 29.75 and you fail to hold the 8, which is this red line, that's rising into that same area. This is going to be a key spot. Right? Big picture, if you give me a weekly or a monthly close below here, then you'll hear me get bearish or defensive. And then you'll hear me talk about 1,600, 1,700. But until you take out these lows and you take out the V bottom low, I'll show you in a second what we were talking about last week, there's no reason to talk about 2,000. There's just absolutely no reason. You could just as easily go to new highs as you could go to 2,000. So it's just, you gotta trade it what is, and right now it hasn't broken these lows. There's no reason to talk about deeper levels. All right. That's all I want to say about the monthly. We go to the weekly level. Okay, this becomes a little bit more clear. So here's these lows. What do we say, 2,900 or so? Again, I'm not very level specific. These are areas. When you give me a daily close or weekly close below here, then I'll care about where that close was, if it was below this exact low. But you know, if you want me to keep flipping back and forth, I'll say it's 29.75. Looks like the intraday low. That's on this particular exchange. Anyway, so there's the higher lows. We're still in an uptrend. Okay. So again, why are we talking about lower prices if the market hasn't done anything wrong? It just keeps making higher lows. So these are the lows that matter for me before we talk about any type of deep correction in the market. All right, we come back here on the daily. This is that V bottom that we put in last week. This is what I'm talking about. So in our model, when we break what we call the bands here, there's a chance that you pull back towards the 200 or pi. The thing with Bitcoin is it's been such a strong market. It's been the most bullish asset on the planet for the last several years. We can't even get back to the 200-day. The buyers come right back in. So it happened here. You go back and look at a lot of these pullbacks, we're not even getting back to the 200. So that just shows you the strength. It shows you the demand. It doesn't really surprise me. But typically when you do break here, you have to think about a deeper pullback. So you got to be a little bit patient. And we were. That's why I wasn't buying into these lows. I bought here. I bought into the bands. And I said, all right, I'm going to wait. I'm going to save some ammunition in most of my size for deeper. And then we never got it. We talked kind of similar on NEO. You're making lower highs here. This was the pivot on the upside now. So that 4,100 area, you're making lower highs. It's creating the swing line. It's creating this cycle. It's actually better if you draw this. Okay, so we were in this down cycle. Now it looks like we might be turning back up here. So getting above this pivot is key. When we closed above it just barely yesterday, I want to see a little bit more follow through, see if we can gain traction. And then you got to think about, boom, up here, back to the highs. So that's if then analysis. If we get above 4,100, then we should go to these highs. We don't just make a 4,100 call when you're falling like this. That's not trading what is. That's just putting a number out there and then hoping you're right. When you're dropping from here, you have to be thinking about the direction it's heading here. And then when it gets here or holds here, then you talk about the pivot highs before you start talking about the next level on the upside. So just like this is the level that matters on the downside before I start talking about 2000, this is where I care about. And then this pivot low right here too. You break this low, then you should go to this low. You know, there's no need to talk about 1600. You got this here, you got this here, you got the 200, you got pi, you got a lot of things. You got this low. So anyway, I mean, in our analysis, I just don't have a lot. There's nothing to. This was bearish right here, intermediate term. Like I said, we broke the bands, but now we just came right back up. Things are looking bullish again. We go to the 4 hour. There's the V bottom, right? You can see it much easier to see here. And then notice too, guys. Here's, I'll draw this in green. The bands are all bullish here. Bullish, bullish. See, everything's rising. Okay, and then the bands lay on top of each other here, and then it finally rolls over in this direction. At this point, everything's bearish. Okay, and then the bands just recently right here turned back for up. So that's just showing you that wave formation that's not the only signal. It's more of a visual showing you the trend. This helps show you the momentum, the wave formation. All right. If we break down what we call our TMS, I'm not going to get into why we call it that or exactly how to use it, but these are the lower highs that mattered right here. That's why I kept saying 4100, 4100. There's lots of things here. Pi is rising. That's showing you the long-term uptrend. That's not going in the wrong direction. But getting above these highs, we want to see the market hold up here, and then it can move back to the highs. If you can't close up here and have some follow through, then yeah, it's definitely possible that you can move back to these lows down here. But let's not talk about 2000 when we haven't even broken these lows. And guys too, when you have, let me just show you how this is the higher lows. These are higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. This is a higher low or equidistant low from here. These are holding the same level, same area. Oops, now you broke right here. That allowed for this big flush. Okay, now you had the big flush and then the V bottom. So you went from lower lows. This is a lower low than here. Draw it in red. And then this is the next lower low. And then boom, you went right all the way back up, almost, this is a long distance from here to here to come all the way back to this high. So you put in a lower high here. And then right here, this was a sign that the bulls were back right here. You had this big move off the low, this big candle. This is showing you all the power of the bulls. This is the biggest candle on the chart for months. That's a real money candle. That's the footprint of a lot of buying, institutional buying. I mean, this isn't one or two people. This is big money coming in. And then what did you do? You pull back halfway at this bar, and boom, you made a higher low. Bounced up, kind of retest this area, got tired, boom, back down to these lows. But the market never retested this V bottom low, so the bulls have done a pretty good job. And now you make these higher lows, and now you're starting to maybe basically trying to make a new high. That's going to turn everything back bullish if you can. So we're still watching 4100. If the market struggles and comes back down, then you got to think about 3600 again. It's probably the area we'll test. That would be the next signpost. And if we get through here, watch for these highs and then a retest of these highs. Anyway, I think you guys get the point. Guys, come join us. We're talking about this stuff all the time. I did a I just did a podcast kind of on some of these same topics. I don't know if you guys know, we have a podcast here, the Bitcoin Podcast Network. We're a contributor on here. There's a lot of great info, a lot of great podcasts. These guys is a good group that put this together. So podcasts, ours is right here. Buy or sell, what the hell? Right here, buy or sell, what the hell? That's us. So this should be, the next episode should be out. I don't know if we'll get out today, probably by tomorrow. And so we talked about some of those concepts and some of the psychology of trading that I just kind of went over. And then also, guys, I failed to kind of mention in the podcast, but if you're new to us, this is our site here, jenkinsrm.com. You can join our chat room for free right here. It's a great way to kind of come in, get involved with the community, ask questions about kind of what we do, how you get involved. If you have just things you want to learn about trading, you want to learn the model, kind of depends where you're at. Crypto traders, this is our crypto coin team right here. We have real-time alerts that we offer on other markets. That's what's great about our model, is you can apply it to any time frame, any market. All right. Anyway, crypto coin team. That's how you can get involved with us on the digital side. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you.